right, so around this time is when I heard about something called ayahuasca. And I heard about it at most places you hear about illicit substances, a party. So I was there, and there was this guy talking about him and his wife were going to Peru to do ayahuasca. I'm like, ayahuasca, what's this stuff? He said, well, it's this stuff that you drink. They mix these plants together down in Peru. The indigenous people have been doing it for thousands of years. They mix it together, you drink it, and then you go into other dimensions. Right? It's like as you go up, you see like amazing other dimensions. Some people say you see heaven, but you also have to face all your demons. You go to the darkest side of things, and it's just an awful dark side. So he's telling me all this. I was like, so this sounds like a drug-induced battle for your soul. I don't know about this. So he says, yeah, we go down and everyone gets in a hut and we all drink the stuff and they give everyone pails because most people vomit, some people soil themselves. Like, oh, this just keeps getting better. And they say, but when you go through the process, afterwards, you leave your old self behind. Like you get like a fresh start. It's like a do-over. You get a reset button. You come out like an entirely changed and new person. That's why like some people like Gabor Mate, they're using this to work with like heroin addicts recover when they give them this stuff because they can leave their old self behind and get a fresh start. So at this point, all of a sudden I started feeling like a guy that had never saved any money, but then I got like a tip at the track. It's like, I don't know if this is going to work, but if it does, it could fix everything. Got one last shot here. So I decided, like, okay, so I start to look into ayahuasca, and I look it up, and this is what it says in Wikipedia. It says, people who have consumed ayahuasca report having spiritual revelations regarding their purpose on Earth and the true nature of the universe. I'm like, well, that doesn't sound too bad. That doesn't sound like a drug. That sounds like a pretty good tip. So I read more about it. What ayahuasca is. It's two plants that they mix together. It's an entheogenic brew. And entheo in Greek means to generate the divine from within. So what they do is they mix these two plants together, and the main components are DMT and harmaline, which are actually two things that your body naturally produces. You have these chemicals in your body all the time. So when you take ayahuasca, you're not introducing a foreign substance into your body. You're just topping up. When you already got in a big way. So some people don't even react to it. Some people take it and have no reaction whatsoever. They're so locked in their frontal cortex that they can't get out of it. They're just locked in this type of thing, so that it has no effect on them whatsoever. So I'm sort of like, how could that be a drug? Right? That's why the indigenous people call it a medicine. Here we call it a drug. Because if you give a guy LSD, it's going to work. If you give it to this type of guy who can't unlock his frontal cortex, that's probably the type of guy who freaks out, rips off all his clothes, runs out the street, and starts turning over cars, right? So I'm like, you know what? I got a buddy and I talk about. I'm like, let's go. We're gonna do this, right? So we decide we're gonna do it, but we don't. Yeah, big plans, but then when you actually have to start to go through it, you're like, nah, maybe just, let's think about it next month. We'll review it again. So, I don't know, time goes by, 5 months or something, and I'm sitting at home, I'm not doing much, and I just, I happen to take February off. You can do that in my line of work. I just decided I'm going to take February off for no reason. Wasn't really sure. I'm sitting around watching hockey, whatever I ate, just kind of killing time. And the phone rings, and it's the guy from the party that I talked to who was going to do ayahuasca. So he's like, "Oh, I win. It was the most amazing thing. I used to suffer from depression. I'm absolutely fine now. I don't have to take meds. My wife's never been happier. I completely changed. I got a whole do-over. I'm meditating. I'm so connected to everything. And what they said was true. I saw all these things. It's the toughest journey I've ever gone on, but the most rewarding thing I've ever done. I would have traded my house for it, which is a pretty big ringing endorsement. right? And then he said, we're going next week. I only did one of the ceremonies. You're supposed to do 3. One was enough for me. But we're going to go back down. If you were interested, do you want to come with us? I was like, well, let me think about this, right? So I start to look at like flights and you know, what it's going to cost and all sorts of stuff. And then I'm like, you know what? Forget it. Too much. I just decide like, you know what? Yeah, I chicken out. Right? So I'm like, no, I'm not going to go. Sorry. So I go back to more important stuff like watching TV. So I'm sitting there, and then at exactly 5 o'clock that night, my phone rings at 5, and I see it, and it's a number I don't recognize. And I answer it, and it's this lady that I know that can talk to dolphins. I didn't know she could talk to dolphins at the time I answered the phone. I just knew who she was from high school. We connected on Facebook. She did this brain bliss thing where she uses like dolphin sound techniques to help people get over trauma and things. And my mom's got MS and stuff. I thought, oh, maybe the dolphin lady can help my mom. So we start talking, and she tells me all about her dolphin stuff. She's like, I'm a little weird. I'm like, oh, you're a little weird. I was just thinking of doing ayahuasca. And she's like, I did ayahuasca. I know a great shaman. She trained in Peru for 20 years. I could set you up with a shaman if you want to go do ayahuasca. Right? So now God is telemarketing me. He's called twice in 5 hours for the same message. So I'm like, okay, I guess I should probably go. Right? So I take her up on the offer. She gives me the email of the shaman, and I'm talking to the shaman by email. And then we decide that we're going to talk. So we're going to talk using the ancient technique of Skype. So we've arranged to talk, and at this point I'm back on the island. I'm at my mom's. I'm visiting like the day that the chat's supposed to happen. And my mom's one of these people. She's like got like every self-help book thing that you've ever seen. She's got like the Celestine Prophecy, Conversations with God. She's got Power Positive. There's Wayne Dyer videos all over the place. She gives me The Secret every year for my birthday. I've got a dozen of them on the shelf. I'm waiting until I get 13, then I'm going to put a bunch of us in a circle, read it out loud, and punch a hole through the universe. So I'm in this pleasure dome of self-help. My mom's on the Skype, the Skype call comes in, then it answers, the Skype thing answers, and I see the shaman, and she looks just like Lily Tomlin. She's got red lipstick and long black hair. She's dressed like Mrs. Roper from Three's Company. She's chain smoking. I was like, this isn't what I thought a shaman would look like at all. I was picturing like a shrunken Peruvian woman with a bowl cut and a necklace made of human knuckles. So she's telling me all about the ayahuasca. She's like, 20 years she's been trained. She's like, how do you feel about this? I'm like, what do you mean, how do I feel? She's like, well, I want you to trust your feelings on this. I'm like, I always like to walk and think about stuff. She's like, well, why don't you go for your walk and then let me know what you decide. So I put on my music, I'm going for my walk, and on the walk I hear the song by Soundgarden, Searching with My Good Eye Closed. So I'm like, is that a sign? Am I searching with my good eye closed? Do I need to open my good eye? Will this help do this? So I'm like, this is telling me, hey, you're walking blind right now. You should do this. It's going to help with this problem. So I'm like, okay. So I decided, I tell her, yeah, I'm in. My buddy wants to. She's like, oh, we're going to have to talk to him as well. Right? So what happens is I found out I'm not just deciding whether I go. The shaman is actually deciding whether they're going to take you as well. It's kind of a two-way thing. So my buddy Kenny and I, we arranged for Skype. She comes up and she tells us, she tells me like beforehand that she's going to plan an itinerary. So she tells Kenny that she's planned out the whole itinerary. She's got all the costs. We stay in a hotel. We do 3 ceremonies in 3 days, and we do yoga every day beforehand to prepare for the ceremony. And then she tells us that her medicine, it's ayahuasca, that's a generic name. Hers is called Paloma Blanca. There's different sort of strains of it, but this is more of a, she's like, it's a medicine of the heart. It's a rebirthing medicine. It's more horizontal. The experience is more horizontal. It's not as vertical up and down through other dimensions as what the guys in Peru, she knew who they were that we were going to do. So she tells us all about this, and I was like, what? This is stuff for little girls. It's like, if I'm going to the theme park, I want to ride the roller coaster. I don't want to cup cup and saucer. It was like, what's all this yoga crap? I'm like, puking in a bucket and soiling yourself in front of people is one thing, but yoga, that's embarrassing. So we decide we're going to go and close up the Skype, and Kenny just turns and says, man, I sure hope this stuff is strong enough. I was like, I'm just worried about the yoga. So now we're in Mexico. Down there, we've taken her fully in. We meet her that night. She tells us, we're at the hotel. She's going tomorrow. We're going to meet. We'll go to yoga, then do the ceremony. Write out your intentions tonight, because you're going to ask the medicine. You can write out what you want to find out, and then we'll do that before the ceremony. So Kenny and I are back at the hotel, and we're writing out our lists. We're like a couple of kids on Christmas Eve, like writing out, whoa, man, I want to get over this spiritual malady, connect myself up to a higher power. I'm making my little list. He's got his secret list over there. We're not really sharing. You ask your questions, I'll ask mine, right? We write out our little lists, so we meet the next day for yoga, and we go to this. It's just the three of us go to like this weird lady's place, and she's just like the yoga that she's doing is like she's chopping. We're just like, ah! She's screaming, got a little yell. She's doing this. Does not look like my wife's yoga DVD. I don't know what we're doing, but it's crazy. So we leave. Now we're heading for the ceremony, and I can tell Kenny's a little nervous. I'm just like, oh, thank God the hard part's over. Done with the yoga. So we go to the ceremony. We walk where it's going to take place. It's like that's her place. So as we walk in, she opens the door, and she's got this cat there. She's like, oh, that's my cat, Sarah. She helps with the ceremony. I'm like, oh, great. She's a cat lady, too. So we get up to where the ceremony is going to take place, and the first thing I notice is there's like a ceramic baby deer in a fireplace, with a picture of Jesus, and then there's like a table in the middle, and then like two like makeshift little beds beside it, and then a plastic bag beside each of them. Like, what's the bag for? She's like, oh, that's for in case you throw up and purge. There's a plastic bag there. I'm like, what the fuck have I got myself into, right? But I'm like, but at the same time, I was thinking, you know what? I can handle my drugs. I'll be fine. I'm no rookie like Kenny over here. So we sit down. We got the attendant, and then she's like, she goes to get the ayahuasca. She's pouring into the stuff, and I had looked it up on YouTube, and you see people, they all drink like a little shot glass of it. And the shaman does it as well. So they're on the same consciousness level of you. If anything goes sideways, they know they can experience what you're going through. So she brings it over. She's got her shot glass, but she brings over 2 giant wine goblets for Kenny and I. She cake sizes us. Like, these 2 are for you, right? Well, that's a lot. So she's like, blow your intentions in. We blow her little things in. She's like, knock it back as fast as you can. Because it doesn't taste good. Like, everyone asks how it tastes, and the answer is awful. Right? So you knock it back, and it's really heavy. Like, I don't know if you saw The Matrix, but when the metal is going down, it's like, ah! That's what it feels like. You just feel this heavy, cold stuff, and you can feel it going all the way down, and then it hits your stomach. And then for 10 minutes, you're just like, please, don't throw up. Right? You're just trying to keep the medicine in. So then we lie back. We'll fly back on our beds and lie there. About 45 minutes goes by. I'm like, man, maybe I didn't take enough. Maybe I need a little bit more. And then all of a sudden things start to get really pink. I'm seeing everything's changing to pink. It's just this warm, loving pink color. And then I'm lying there, and all of a sudden I feel my hands are starting to move. I'm like, are my hands moving? Like, I think my hands are moving. Yeah, my hands are definitely moving. Look at that, they're moving. It's the medicine of the heart. My heart's opening up. I'm opening up my heart. Look at that. My medicine of the heart's making my heart open up. It's really weird. And then I can only describe the vision I was in that I was in front of like a river of love. It was a pink river of love. It's like, come on over and have a drink. I was like, whoa. Turns out, man, was I thirsty. I was low in the love department. Yeah, I think my little Grinch heart grew 3 sizes that day. Lapping up this river, I'm just having an amazing time, and then I can hear this little like sound, and I open my eyes, and I look over at Kenny, and there's a beam of light. It's like a green beam of light is going right on his head, and he's just like, it's like an exorcist. I was like, well, that doesn't look too good. I think I'm going back to the good stuff. Back to the river of love, and then I hear Kenny, all of a sudden I hear him kick the table, and he yells out the shaman's name. He's like, Christina, Sarah, help! Right? He's even calling for the cat at this point. And all I'm thinking to myself is, I was just like, oh my God, I wish Kenny wasn't here. Kenny would just please go away. Just don't let Kenny here. And then the shaman got up and took him off to like the quiet room. And I was like, look at that, I'm controlling my own reality already. So now, next thing it shows me is all of a sudden I start going vertical. I'm going like straight up. You're just like rocketing, like up, up, up. She said horizontal bullshit. This was pretty straight up. I don't know if she checked what horizontal and vertical mean, but she needs to adjust her brochure. And so I'm just going straight up, up, up. And then you came to what we, like just beings of light. There's just all these beings of light, and they're holding up like a little thing of light. And then the shaman told me later that that was like you being born. That's you seeing your soul. This is a rebirthing medicine. So you're being reborn into this new consciousness, right? And then it just started loading me up. It was just downloading me, like how the universe works. You just lie there, just being loaded with information. It's like the Matrix. You're just being downloaded with more than you can handle. All of a sudden, I just sat up. I was like, I know Kung Fu. So I'm sitting there, and then I hear Kenny down the hall. He's just puking his guts out. You can hear his foot kicking the door. I don't know how I've never heard a man vomit this hard in my life. Man, that rookie sure can't handle his crunch. So, and then the shaman's like, maybe we should put on some music. He's dealing with some stuff down in the hall here. So he puts on this music, and it's very sitar-y, and it's got bells and stuff. And the weird thing is, I recognized it. I was like, in 1992, I was stepping off a bus here, and a bunch of Hare Krishnas were going by. Yeah, I don't even know if they still have Hare Krishnas. I haven't seen them at the airport in years, right? But they were going by, and the song they were playing was this song I was hearing now. I hadn't heard this song since. I don't even know how I recognized it, but when I got off the bus, and the guy said something to me, and I said, yeah, I heard you guys playing the music. He went by, he's like, but did you hear the message? And what I realized at that point, the message he was telling me, I wouldn't get until 25 years later at this point. The message was, are you listening to what's going on? All you're being shown about the universe. And it sounds kind of crazy to get a message that is 25 years later, but it was meant, given then, but it was meant. But when you're in this consciousness, time doesn't exist. If you look at consciousness, like every day when we wake up, we're just in this, whatever this is, and it just exists. It's always here. There's 4.5 billion years old, then 25 years is nothing, right? That's instantaneous, right? Just bang. He gave me the message right away as far as the universe is concerned. So now I'm having the most amazing experience of my life. Right? This is just if this was golf. And I was coming in after the first 9 holes at the turn, I would have been having the game of my life, right? I would have been coming in, I would have been buying beers beers for everyone, hot dogs, I'm shooting the lights up. I can never play any better than this. But then, let's just say I had a tough back 9. It started out innocently enough. I was just sort of sitting out on the deck with the shaman, and I could see this pulse of light coming from in the city. I'm like, yeah, you see that pulse? She's like, you can see that? I'm like, yeah. She's like, that's the heart. It's telling you should go there. There's something there for you. You should remember to go there. And then all of a sudden, I felt ill. I said, well, I don't feel so good. And then all of a sudden, but it didn't feel like it was coming from my stomach. It was from the bottom of my spine. Just something felt like it traveled up my spine. And then I was like, ugh, and it wasn't the medicine, which is, I drank a lot of it, and it looked like a grape. Right? Here's the thing about this, is when you take this, when you do it, you don't hallucinate. You see visions and you hear things, but when you open your eyes, you're you, the chair's that, you know where you're at, this is the place. So when I say it was a grape, it was a grape. I didn't understand it either, but that's what was lodged in my spine, apparently. So the shaman's like, that's a blockage from that's a deep blockage from way back. So that's something you got out of there, right? And then all of a sudden, we hear Kenny come out of the mouth. He looks like shit. His hair is all over, he's pale, his eyes are, he comes out, he just comes out, he walks out, he just says, I've just been talking Chinese for the last 4 years. Do you mind if I join you? Don't find joy, or whatever. We said, come on. He comes and sits down. And then all of a sudden he sits down, all of a sudden his eyes start going. He's like, oh no, Kenny's going for another lap, right? This looks like something the shaman, Christina, can deal with. I'm going to go back inside, lie down. You guys, I'm going back in, right? So I go back in and I lie down, get out there, and then I just hear this, I can hear like a plastic bag, like ruffling. You hear like this, something scratch around. I open my eyes and I look, and it's Sarah. The cat is making this bag by Kenny's bed into like a little bowl. She's making a little cute bowl for Kenny. Look at that, Sarah really does help. Making a little basket there. So then I lie back, and then the dark side comes. And it's, all I can describe it as is like pure fear. Right? Like it's very dark. These vines just start to pull you down. The vines are very deep, dark green and purple. Everything's black around you, and then it's just, you're confronting all your demons for an endless amount of time. Right? It's not like, well, I think I've learned enough. You can open the door now. No, you're staying until it's done with you. Right? So all of a sudden, you're seeing stuff, and all of a sudden you start to feel, all of a sudden I started feeling ill. Right? I'm like, oh, you're seeing stuff that's so horrific, it's forcing you to hurt, or feel sick. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, Sarah wasn't making that basket for Kenny, that bag's for me. And so all of a sudden I was like, all of a sudden when you're puking, I'm like, I didn't know I had a problem with Brandon, my brother. You're doing some me stuff. You're throwing up people. It's just strange, but you're getting rid of things in your life that have been blocking you. So you're just throwing up people. I'm like, oh my gosh, awful. And then all of a sudden I saw an image of Kenny, and he looked like a goat with horns on. And it was so horrific that it made me feel sick. And then all of a sudden I realized, oh my God, he's got so much stuff now, it's using me as a vessel for him. Oh man, I gotta help this guy bail his boat, right? Just like, you son of a bitch, kid. Just killing me, this guy, right? You feel like you're dying, because you are, in a way, right? You leave yourself. And then I just kind of collapsed. I just got absolutely exhausted. And I remember thinking to myself, you know what? Fuck this. When this is over, not only can I not handle this any longer, when this is over, I'm going back to the hotel, I'm getting on a flight, I'm going home. I'm done with this, right? And then I just saw this man on a horse. He looked like a Roman soldier, he was dressed like a Roman soldier. Maybe he had some other soldiers with him, because he sort of came over, and then he just said, oh, he's done. And then I guess somebody said, well, he said, yeah, that guy, he's had enough. He's finished. Right? And then he just looked at me with disgust. Like he's like, you made me come all the way down here for this guy? Look at this guy, he's a mess. And then he just took off. He just headed off. He knew he had bigger things to do than to be checking on me. Right? So then you start to come out of it. It kind of comes out of like a fog, but it's all of a sudden like, it just lifts and then it's like crystal clear. And if you want to know what you look like after your first journey on ayahuasca, you look like this. Yeah, whatever blows your hair back, right?